Right now, would you say that you are more transcendent or more imminent? What's louder? Is there more a sense of like spaciousness, openness, presence, the sense of identity, identifying as that, this that is aware, this awareness, or more a sense of being in the senses, being in this imminence, senses, feeling, oh, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling the seat. There's an enjoyment in breathing the air. So let's look at these two. Not as often in the spiritual journeys, this transcendence is better. Oh, we just want the openness, the spaciousness, the bliss of being that's untouched by experience. Let's, for a few minutes, let's explore both in you. So let's first go to what's it like to fall back, to sink into a flavor of beingness that feels openness, no boundaries, spacious, empty perhaps, still. Just notice what your word is for that when there's going to this openness. Some call it even oneness, connectedness, unity, stillness, presence, awareness. And then how do you find it? Is it a stepping back? Is it a feeling into Goli? It's like, oh, there it is. I got it. How do you find it? How do you know this? The spacious, ever present, imperturbable being. And in whatever glimpse you can find of this, what's it like to be this? What's it like to be this that Dick Schwartz speaks of as self? It can't be diminished or it can't be enhanced. It just is this imperturbable being, imperturbable self, this causeless okayness. What's it like to be this? And can you find when we really let's turn up the volume, let's turn the knob up of this, turn up the volume of this. What's that like? Does the silence become louder? Vendor actually hears a sound. There's a sound to this, the sound of the silence. Is there a sound of it for you? What's it like when you turn the volume up? Is for some of us, there's even a sense of disappearing into this. It's like the wave disappearing into the ocean or just knowing itself as the ocean. What's it like when the volume is turned up in you? And how do you know it? Is there a sense of, does it open as, is it a vibration? Is it a bliss? How do we know this? And then when it's turned up, for some of us, some people can't even find parts anymore, can't even find the waves. It all becomes ocean. What's it like when we turn up the volume? And if you're having difficulty, you can feel into Goli or Raymond in this. Find this. What's it like? What's your relation to the parts? Or do the parts all just become an expression of this, aspects of the ocean? Okay, then let's let our systems relax. Maybe you just let the volume turn just gently on its own as we relax. We kind of see if you can let yourself fall kind of back into the body. As you fall back into the body, as you become more aware of the body, of the senses, of the sense of touch. Maybe you have your hand on your leg, sense of touch. Maybe as you breathe in, feeling the air entering your body. Feeling perhaps a vibration in your hands, a vibration in your feet as we sink into the physical, to the somatic. Let's say our attention shifts entirely, the awareness shifts entirely to the experience of the body, to the senses, touch, even taste. What's the taste that's here now? Hearing, what's it like to hear? You're hearing my voice, and what else are you hearing right now? And then for you, what's it like to sink further into the somatic? To sink further into the senses? How does your system turn up the volume of the senses? Whatever your hands are touching right now, maybe to have your hands move just a little bit. And what's it like to turn up the senses? Turn up the experience of touch. And then some people enjoy this psychedelic called MDMA ecstasy because it turns this up. We're going to see if we can find this without that medicine. We turn up our senses. Can you find an enjoyment, the joy in this touch? And if touch isn't your sense, whatever sense it is, maybe if your eyes are closed, it's like, what are you seeing? It might be smell, it might be taste, it might be the ecstasy of what's being heard, the sound, the vibration. How deeply can you go into the sensory experience of this body? And can we find the same that we found in transcendence and going out through going deeply in? Can you touch a bliss that's here? Sometimes it's just feeling the vibration of this body as bliss. If you feel the vibration, the aliveness that's here, if you really let your system sink into it, and notice if there are any parts that are here, like I'm not doing this right, I should go deeper. I have maybe a comparison. Oh, Dagmar is probably feeling this more than I am. Just notice those are just parts that can, and then we go back to our experience. What's it like to feel this aliveness? Can you find a bliss here in this aliveness, this vibration? And then just with touch, or even feeling the hairs on our arm or the vibration in our hands, can you touch bliss? And is this bliss, is this sensation, is this experience any different than where you go when we go out to the bliss of being? Can we find a bliss of being as this imminence, as this experience of this body? We'll just rest here for another 15 seconds and we'll come back together. Anything else that's wanting to be felt? This bliss of you, the bliss of you. And notice, is there anything missing here in this bliss and this experience of you? This imminence of being in this body, being this body. What's it like to be you? Be present here, embodied. And we can just relax again, whatever that looks like for you, as we just relax back to this present moment. So like maybe there's something that opens up a little bit where you can still feel the sensations, but we just open back up. As Eckhart says, we're just here in the now, this presence. But can we find just the right point here? Can we find this place where we're aware of both? Where we can still touch this imminence, this full sensory experience, this bliss of our bodies, of this imminence. And then we can also open up to this that is aware of that, to this that this is arising into the spaciousness of stillness, and know the bliss of that too, the spaciousness, the stillness, the unity. What's that for you? What's this perhaps middle way? What's this middle way in your system where both are here? And just for the next 30 seconds, if you'll just let yourself kind of navigate and find it, almost like finding, maybe almost like riding a bike, where you're finding your balance between the two, the immanence and the transcendence. We find our balance. And as we slowly come back to the space with the 7 of us who are here with you, as you're finding your way, but just holding your balance, finding your balance here is both. And I'm just going to share what you all have heard, my housekeeping, but for Jose, that I'm a mediator. I'm not a psychotherapist. And if everybody's good, being responsible for their journeys today, as we, the 8 of us, co-create this, if I could get a thumbs up from you, please. And then just as always, I've got my recording on, but only my square, only my image is ever shared, never yours. However, your audio could be shared because I make this available sometimes to people who aren't here. And if there's ever a preference for something not to be recorded, just let me know and I make you a co-host and you click pause. That's my preference. Or afterwards, if like, wow, I wish I hadn't said that, just let me know at the end of the group and I delete that. If everybody's good with this video being recorded, if I can get a thumbs up, please. Wow. So how are you now? Are you able to find both? Are you able to connect with both the immanence and the transcendence? What's it like to find that place of balance in you? What's that like? What's it like? Who wants to go first? Who's got some bubbling with all of this? Who wants to share?
I feel like I always start.
That's
I was
wait,
I
aren't we
was
all
giving someone
excited?
else a chance.
Are we all excited? Jenny's starting. We get to hear from Jenny. Yay.
Um, it's very peaceful. It's very peaceful. I think it's interesting shifting attention to the body and then to the transcendent. They're tied together. Um, in the presence, but it's just uh, a matter of attention shifting a little bit.
Let me pause for just a minute in that line where you said they're tied together in the presence. This immanence and this transcendence are tied together in the presence. Just for all of us, how does our system make sense of that? What do you do with that line of Jenny's? Tied together in the presence. Please continue, Jenny.
I don't know if there's much more. Um,
What were your words? What did you find when you went to the transcendence? Like we all have different words for this, just for all of us. What's your word for it? Is it a silence? Is it a stillness? Is it an openness? Is it presence? Is it awareness? Is it love? for each of us, what's your word for the transcendence? What was your word, Jenny?
It was peace,
And
peace
then
and love.
mhm, peace and love. And just for all of us, when we hear Jenny say this is, she opens, it's peace and love. How do those words translate into your system? Can you find them? Can you touch that? This really open. Oh, it's peace. There's peace here. I'm peace. Really open to this. What am I? I am love. What's your taste of that? What's your feel, glimpse of that for each of us? And then, Jenny, when you go the other side to the imminence, what did you find there? What would be your word or words for that?
I think uh I'm not sure I fully understand.
Mm. When we went to going into the senses, so
Hmm.
sinking into the body for all of us. It's for the question for all of us right now, and we'll go around and hear from everybody on this one. What's your what's your word when you went into imminence? When you went into to Jenny, into Sid, into feeling embodied? It's like, is it? Whoa! There's aliveness. There's aliveness. There's vibration. There's there's whoa, there's even like some people have been finding an ecstasy here if you really dive in and feel this, or it's a tingling. It's a how do we what's it like when we fully fall into this experience of this body? It's a even presence. There can be a presence in this embodied presence, or it's density. What do I feel? Oh, I feel the density of this body of my hand. I feel weight. It's weight here. What was it? What's it for you, Jenny? And feel free to pass. No, we're never on the spot here.
Yeah, it's the word that passed through my mind during that part of it was it's just a miracle. Just a miracle. It's miraculous, this body.
Miraculous. Just for us all, when we hear that miraculous, where do we go? Or what's our word? What's our translation of that word miraculous? And then just to get a somatic expression of miraculous, what would be your somatic expression of it? Is it, well, there's a fullness. There's like there's light. It feels like a light, aliveness. What's your word for this miraculous?
Yeah, it's a aliveness. It's life lifing through me.
That for each of us, it's aliveness. It's living, lifing through me. Does that translate to your system? Aliveness. And just to notice, let's just pause for a minute. Notice what parts are here for you when Jenny shares this, as she facilitates into this aliveness, this lifing. Do you have parts that come up that say, but, or no, that's not it. That's not it. That's different, or it's different here. Or her word miraculously. What's the narrative voices that come up inside of you? What's it like as you taste this, as Jenny points for us, as we taste it inside? Or is that this is silly? This isn't spiritual. The spiritual is the other space. Like what are the thoughts that arise in you? What are the parts? And then can they all be enjoyed? Isn't it sweet, the narrative voices that arise as we dive into this? Anything else, Jenny?
The parts are really quiet right now. I feel like I'm not saying that much because the parts are quiet. Things really settled with that meditation. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And for some of us, we might be having the exact opposite experience as Jenny's. In her system, it's settled. For others, we might have parts that are gotten quite activated. It's like, no, that's not spiritual. No, I prefer this to that. Is that can we find okayness? Can we find enjoyment of the theater of how it's arising in us and how it may be different than Jenny's system? It's like, wow, like Jose's system is really different. This is exciting. I know everybody, like, can't you wait to hear, like, what's it like for Jose and Hanin? When we look at Hanin, just, it's like, what's it like in her? What's it like in Hanin's system? And Dagmar's and Goli's and Raymond's and Vendors. Can you join me in a curiosity? Like, how's this playing? What are the parts that are arising in each of us? Woo. Okay. And then just for a moment, this is a lot. I'm just gonna like shake it all off in me a little bit, just because here we are. Because again, because Jose's with us for the first time, right? He's like, oh my God, I'm supposed to follow all of this? This is a lot. No, no, we're just playing. We're just here. It's after school. We're in Jose's backyard playing around, and there's nothing to do. We're just playing. We're just here. Nothing that, parts like, no, I gotta get this. No, that's just, we're just playing. Here we are. How are we just being here together? What's it like just to be here? Nothing. We don't need to do anything. Nothing has to be gotten. Nothing has to be healed. Just this enjoyment. Woo. Well, let's keep going around. Who wants to go next? What's it like being you? What's this all like? Yeah, Raymond. Raymond teaches this, and I just want us to get the gift of, could you share with us what your word is for the when we went out, like what your word or couple words are for that, and then the same thing for how you just when you went into the fullness of imminence as far as your system dropped, like how would you describe that as well?
So, um, I would describe um, presence again. It's all the classic stuff's in it. It's like what Jenny said. So when Jenny said, "My parts are quiet," right? So right now in me, nothing's moving.
Mm.
There's no thoughts. Genuinely, there's no thoughts here at all.
Mm.
And anything that, even when you asked me the question, I didn't go to my mind for the answer. That's not got the answer. I just go into my presence. And the words that I would use said are, I'm not in the space of presence. I am the space of presence.
Perfect. So this space, this presence state. So what about that? What Raymond said. I am the space of presence. I am presence. This is different, right? I'm aware of presence or I am presence. Just notice that for each of us. See if you can
Or,
take
or say aliveness said
a,
so. No one on this call could say, I am not alive.
and so Raymond,
And
is any contrast then in your system between like the spacious presence and going to aliveness and knowing it as embodied in the body? Is there any move, or is it just it's the presence that's both? What did you find? Do you have something you'd like to share on that, Raymond? Then we got Jose was just raising his hand, but any just what?
no, go straight to Jose. That's fine.
Okay, before we go, let me ask you this, Raymond. What about when we went to, like, if we sunk into our bodies, could we find what was the flavor? Did it taste, did it touch bliss? Was it presence? Aliveness? What was your word for this in the body?
So I'll tell you the truth, Sid. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing this. And this that we think we're doing, and it feels like that I've experienced that I'm doing this. I'm meditating. What is the purpose of meditating? Is to get to nothing. So why meditate? Why not just be nothing?
Yes, perfect. It's perfect. But I'm gonna play with this. What we're playing with is the where we go when we know nothing. We also know it's nothing and something, that everything is of this. So we're playing with the two sides of this. Emptiness is form, form is emptiness. This is, and this is where we're trying to find this in an embodied way. Like what's because we don't want to just walk through life as the emptiness, as the nothingness. There's the fullness of the experience of this life this being embodied. And that's what I'm wondering. What's it like when this emptiness is form, when it is Raymond? It's like, wow, there's even a sense of, perhaps even a sense of me here as this emptiness interacting with Jose right now. What's it like, Raymond? What do you find?
So Raymond is see-through and presence is seeing through.
Hmm. And then what's the experience in the body when that is seen? Is
It's
embodied? Is
it's
there
light.
bliss here? What's here?
It's light as in weight. There's no heaviness,
Hmm.
so it almost feels a bit floaty, like space. Like I'm
Gotcha.
like this
Got
body, and it's literally doing that. Is floating in space. That's what it feels like. It feels floaty, and it's again like Jenny said. If you were to kind of taste in words, it would be all the usual things. Like for me, it's lots and lots of love.
love.
By love, I mean love. I mean like a voice inside me that's like, without saying words, it's almost like saying beautiful,
Mm.
beautiful. Everything is beautiful. Not from up here,
Mhm.
from out the way.
So how are we, let me just check with everybody. As we hear these words from Raymond, how do they translate to an embodied experience for us? Like he describes some, there's a floatiness here as embodied. Then he describes love. It's love. It is love. This embodied experience is love. I am love. How does that translate into your system? And lastly, beauty. See if you can taste this one. It's easy to see it out there, right? It's easy to look at Raymond and see beauty, to look at Hanin, and it's like, oh my gosh, beauty. But to look at, to know this as ourselves, beauty, embodied, can you taste that and just also notice the parts that come up? It's like, are you crazy? I'm not beautiful. Look at my face now. Maybe when I was 20, I'm not beautiful. It's like just to notice the parts. Whew, okay, that was a lot. I got to shake it off before we go to Hanin. Before we go to Jose here. Whew. How's everybody doing? Because again, this is how are you? How are you? And notice that there's a spiritual achiever that comes up. Raymond used some big words there. And a spiritual achiever, like, no, wait, I should have an experience like Raymond. Sid said he teaches this stuff. It's like, no, no, no. We're all, it's I just kind of said that because I wanted to celebrate my friend Raymond, but I could say that for each of us because the idea is we're playing in all of each of our systems, and there's no better than it where we're just all. And how is life moving through us? Because Raymond, even though Raymond's really excited about his system, I think he's just as excited about what Jose is about to share, about what's going on with him or the part that's obscuring. We're celebrating it all. So before we go to Jose, how are you? How are you? What are the voices that are here now? Oh God, this was exhausting. That was too much trying to follow Raymond and all that. Just notice the parts that were here, and they're just our precious parts. And then what are they arising in? What's the space? Is it peace? Is it presence? Is it awareness? And can you find okayness? Is there okayness with what's here, with how life is moving in you right now, with the parts that are here, even the ones that this is really frustrating. I'm not getting this. I should do it differently. Can there be a welcoming and an okayness with all of that? Woo! All right, Jose, this was all a setup for you.
Mm. Well, first of all, I apologize with Remus. I didn't want to interrupt. I thought we had to answer to your question. Sorry, and I just jumped in. Sorry for that.
So interested in your
My
answer. Yes, what's here?
well, I am the ones. I have all my parts. Well, not all actually. My feminine parts, like, were instantly discussing what had happened. Like, it was beautiful. I have to say. Yes, you said the word ecstasy. That's what I felt, and yeah, my parts are like talking. Uh,
Did you say you felt ecstasy?
yeah.
Hmm. And when ecstasy, and where did you find it? Was it like in the experience of touching something, or where did you find the ecstasy? How did that arise for you? Where did it arise?
Well, mainly I think I'm very visual. So in my sight, with my eyes closed, like fractals playing in my mind, or yeah, also the sensation of the skin, like if I was reabsorbed by something, like yeah, the opposite of the other part, the embodiment. I think that what I was going to answer when you did the question was what Ramos said about attention. It's like that's the movement. I felt like, well, I have to change my attention from one thing to the other. Yep.
Hmm. Let me pause for just a minute, just for all of us. Like, what's this like to follow Jose as Jose is leading us here? What's this like? What's arising inside of each of us? What are the narrative voices we're hearing? What are the parts in response? What comes up? And then what was this like when Jose speaks of ecstasy? He speaks of experiencing ecstasy. And he said, it was from my sight when my eyes were closed. When my eyes were closed, the fractals. There was ecstasy there. How does that translate to your system? If you close your eyes for a moment, what do you find? Does this word fractals translate? And can you taste the ecstasy Jose was pointing to? And then is that ecstasy, when you touch ecstasy, if you touch it there, or if you touch it through the other way, Jose spoke of the sensation of his skin. You can feel free to have your eyes open or closed. And then the sensation of the skin. And he used one more word. He used the word being absorbed. Being absorbed. If you touch, glimpse, taste ecstasy in any of these ways, absorbed, the sensation of the skin, with these fractals through sight, is the ecstasy, where is it arising from? Is it of the body or is it of the spacious awareness? Is the ecstasy of the body or is it of the spacious awareness? Is it this bliss of being? What is this ecstasy? What is this bliss of? Where does it come from? We're going to do one more move here. Is the ecstasy dependent on experience? Is it dependent on, oh, I'm touching the sense of sensation and touching my leg? Or, wow, I have my eyes closed and I'm with these 7 beautiful people and they're holding the space. And in the space, it's really opening into ecstasy. I can feel, gosh, thank God, Jenny's here. Jenny really opened me to ecstasy today. Is it dependent on Jenny? Is this ecstasy dependent on experience, to this touch, to the 7 of us with you? Or could it be that this ecstasy goes deeper than that. How you doing with all this, Jose? How you doing now? Anything else you'd like to share? Tell us something else. What's this like? What do you find?
Um, Joy, enjoyment, pleasure. I when you ask where do I feel it, for me it's in my body.
My body. Let's all track that as Jose is leading us here. In his system, it's in his body. This ecstasy is in his body. This bliss is in his body. What voices arise in you when you hear that? When you perhaps you feel this in your own system? Is this in my body? Is this here? Is it like Jose's in me? Like what are the voices that show up? What else you got for us, Jose?
Uh, Nothing. Sorry, no, I don't know. Um, yeah, thank you.
Oh gosh. I almost feel like if we did, we don't really do this here, but I almost feel like we should like give us like an ovation. It was so great. Thank you so much, Jose, for taking us there into this exploration of ecstasy. Raymond's clapping. Hmm. Exploration of ecstasy. Whoa. So before we go on to the next person, because we haven't heard from Goli or Vinder or Dagmar from this or Hanin. Before we go on, anything bubbling, like Jose just took us to this, anything bubbling that would like to be shared before we go on to a next person? Anything bubbling? Mhm. Yes, Vinder.
um, because the spiritual experience being exchanged, and um, I have the experienced some spaciousness. I'm going through some body aches because I overdid it yesterday and went to bed very late. So when I do that, body aches happens. So the word acceptance came to me for myself,
Mhm.
and um, even though I'm going through this, but there is a spiritual achiever. Oh,
Spiritual sheet, let me,
one day.
oh, sorry. I just want to just invite everyone. I don't want you to miss Vinder here. These words we've spoken about as she's speaking about her parts, just like what Jose is speaking of this ecstasy or Raymond's this beauty. What are you seeing in Vinder? What are you feeling in your system? Like if we're mirrors of her essence, of her presence. Like can you see the beauty? Can you feel the can you feel it? Can you feel this essence? Can you feel the presence? Can you feel the self? As she's speaking of her parts, and then we're going to join her fully in her parts, but just what's it like hearing her? And are we just in our minds and we're in parts that are like, okay, I can follow that. I can follow. She has this acceptance she's speaking of, this body aching, but then can we also go deeper than that and really see her beauty? Is this just this radiant light, this radiant presence that's here with us? And just notice your parts, notice the voices that are here as we play together. This is a full participatory game we're in here. Woo, ready? Because we've got a lot here in Vendor. We got a lot to enjoy here. Please tell us more, Vendor. What's it like with your
It
part?
kind of wavers. This morning, I didn't think I'd be able to join today, but I took a shower and, I was kind of got that motivation part coming in. Yeah, you can do it. As you were going through this meditative process, there were times I wasn't feeling any aches in my body. I don't know what it calls. And they really?
Where do you find the aches? Like right now, where are the aches? Where's the discomfort in your body?
it just feels different than my usual self. The aches, it just like it's not unbearable or anything. It's just sleeping, going to bed late, and I don't do that,
Hmm.
and that happens to me, and I have this urging part to get up early because this is a habit I want to. It's my time. Morning is my time. So today there was a resistance to getting up early and doing my meditation. Um, so not right now I'm just very aware of my body.
Hmm.
I guess that's what's happening.
Well, I'm curious what this is like for everyone else here as we're being with Vinder and she's describing, there aches here. There's this discomfort. And maybe for, my version of it, I feel a heaviness. I'll feel like a little lackluster when I'm like this if I haven't slept enough and I just want to go back to sleep. And it might be a real discomfort. It might be, I might have a critic that's yelling, like, say, why didn't you go to bed earlier? You've ruined your day. It's going to be like this, and all of that heaviness. And just as we notice Vinder's version, which seems to be even lighter than my version, there's just these aches here. Is there a problem with where Vinder is right now? Because we often know Vinder as this beautiful, big light of love. And it's like, and today she's like, I didn't sleep enough, and there's aches here. As we're with her, is there a problem that she's feeling these aches? Do we have a healer part that wants to help, or do we just, is there any problem with her right the way she is right now? That we're going someplace deep with this, that you guys know where we're going. When we see this with her, what about in our own system? When we have the aches, when we don't sleep enough, when we're like, oh my gosh, today's going to be really hard. Is it okay? Is it okay that that's there? Can we find okayness for what our experience is when it aches, it's heavy, it might even go into some depression and density. If we can find okayness with Vinder, it makes it easier to find okayness with our system when that occurs. She's exploring an edge for us. What else, Vinder?
Um, yeah, I'm okay with it. This aches, and I want to go for a massage, but if it would help me to release the whatever's going on. But there's a part coming up. I wanted to help my son. He needs me too. That's 40 minutes drive back. Hour and a half back and forth.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, let's
um,
let's go with what you just said. There's a part of her that she's like, oh, I could go for a massage. I could go get some relief. I could go for a massage, or there's a part of you that just wants some relief. Can we all relate to that when we're feeling, or maybe I can have some coffee, my system. Let's have some coffee. We'll make it. It's like, can we find the part that's not okay with what is? It kind of wants to fix it, wants to improve it, wants to get some relief when our body's aching, when our body's not feeling well. And then Vinder, can you find also a place that just welcomes what is, that just welcomes, and for all of us, can we find this that just welcomes Vinder just the way she is and sees no problem with the tiredness. So she has parts that want to get a massage, get some relief. Can we find this that just this is tricky. This is really hard to find. This they call it the causeless okayness. Can we find a place that's okay in our system, even with this, and for all of us, when we're having the experience of Vinders, can we find something that welcomes? And then if we go a little deeper, it turns into a place that's just causeless okayness, even in the midst of the experience. What's that like for each of us? Where do you find this? How do you find this? Vinder, are you able to touch some place that kind of welcomes even this?
mm-hmm. There's not resistant. I'm not finding that. Usually, I feel it in the solar plexus, the resistant to different parts, trying to navigate. I'm okay with it. I went through that yesterday too,
Well,
and
there's
everything
okayness.
turned.
What's the okayness like in the midst of there's a solar plexus, there's trying to navigate, there's some resistance, and then there's some okayness. What's that like?
For me, it's kind of an ease in the body. Like I can feel ease in it, ease in the body. Even, there's the parts coming up, contractor coming to the house, planner part coming up, that can be managed. But there's ease in all of that.
So I'm just focusing on this because this is what so many of us are looking for in the midst of difficulties, to know that to find this, to touch this okayness. In Vinder's word, it's an ease that's here. Even in the midst of, I'm having a hard day, there's still some ease here. And so I'm just going to tie this together in my way, that there's a sense of parts and self, right? The parts, feeling tired, achy, want to get relief. And then there's this self that we can find, perhaps a welcoming or this okayness, this ease. And then lastly, sometimes where we go in effortless IFS is we don't even look for the okayness or ease. We just go into the parts and we just feel the discomfort and all of that. And when we get close enough to that, almost like the way we did this imminence in the body, we're just being with the discomfort, the tiredness, the achiness, something is revealed. It's like the radiance even can shine through that. And this happens sometimes where you can find even okayness in the achiness itself, this beingness that's there, even in the contraction. Final thoughts with all of this, Vinder, as we keep dancing together. You opened so much.
Um, I'm just feeling the presence. I'm okay with all those. It's just be like groundedness, feeling grounded.
Nice. And then for all of us, because we have almost like different shows going on here, different focuses. Like Vinder has focused on the play of the parts in her system, right? In contrast to Raymond, where I can't really find any parts right now. There was just this presence. But then I want to check in with everybody. Are you able to equally find the beauty, the radiance in Vinder as in Raymond's system? The awe, the enjoyment. And if not, just to notice the parts that might be obscuring that. Maybe like a spiritual achiever that thinks, oh, everything is presence. That's better than the sense of achiness, the sense of resistance. But here we're really going for a celebration of everything that arises. Just to notice. Whew, Vinder, thank you for that rich, rich,
Thank you.
rich
Thank you. Thank you.
time. Whoa. So before we go to Goli or Dagmar, and is there anything else that's bubbling that would like to be said with what Vinder just shared, or how you doing? Anything that's bubbling? Raymond.
Yeah, I'm just going to nip away, Sid. I'm going to the cinema with my two sons.
Hey, what are you seeing?
It's a Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal movie. I don't know what it is. My son's a bit of a cinema goer. Anyway, that's where I'm going, but I'm not quite sure. But I just wanted to say that it's 100% correct that for me, what you've just described there in Vinder, so I might experience all the same stuff in lots of ways and in lots of times. But I know for sure it's not me now because I've watched it coming and going so much. It's not permanent. Nothing that appears stays there. It always disappears. So on that note, and actually I think that spiritual achiever thing is a brilliant thing. That's how I've looked at other people and I've went, oh, and that searching and seeking and wanting to be more free of this, that I would suggest that's the big self that's doing that. I'll leave that there.
Oh, thank you, Raymond. Pleasure. Hey, enjoy the movie. See you later.
Hey guys, bye bye.
Wow. So before we go to Dagmar, Goli, and Hanin, just how are you? And just to also notice, we're hearing Raymond's particular system, how it's working in his, right? Where there's this emptiness that's here. There's a no doing, there's just this happening, but that's just his flavor. Okay, that's just his flavor of it. So there might be a spiritual achiever that shows up. It's like, whoa, Raymond, my system should look more like that. That would just be a spiritual achiever. What we're celebrating and interested in is how it moves in you, where Jose was the opposite in a way. He was like, no, this is all embodied here. It's all in this imminence, and then he describes the ecstasy of it all and the ecstasy of closing his eyes. Just to notice if we have parts that have ideas about what this should look like. Woo! Who wants to go next? What you got, Goli? Come on, what you got for us? I've been waiting. We haven't even heard from Goli, and she's my like just hold, but put on your seatbelt
Yeah.
here if she's going to share something. She
But
goes deep in all this stuff. What you got, Goli?
well, I think Dagmar was ready to say something.
Oh, sorry.
No, is it okay? Well, for me, I think everyone said everything. Like it's like everyone talked through. I mean, I talked through everyone. I don't know, but yeah, I see the in the transcendent part of your meditation. Um, I could see the brilliance of the being, as Jenny's mentioned too. It's like the absolute emptiness, but in a good way. It's just, I don't know, the brilliance. And then for the part in the body, I could see the aliveness. It's just the same being acts or experiences the world through my senses, through the body's senses, and it's alive in touching, in seeing, in hearing. It's just it's just life itself, and it just makes every experience, even the experiences that doesn't look good, really, it makes this person to feel alive, like experience fully the whole thing, whatever it is. um yeah, and I any part that comes up, I welcome them. I hug them with love because they're here to protect me. It doesn't matter. It can be fear. Fear is here to protect me. It can, or whatever it is, it's just welcomed and loved. And yeah.
Gosh, I'd like to say something, even apologize, because I always want to let it bubble up and not call on people, and I think I took a little liberty here with Goli because I was a little concerned that Raymond's way might sound like that was the way, and there might be some spiritual achievers. And Goli and I talk a lot, and I took a little liberty in calling on you, Goli. But you hear how she contextualized it and opened it all up. What's that like to hear from Goli with this when she speaks of the brilliance of being, the absolute emptiness that in her system that's touched in this spaciousness, this stillness, this openness, absolute emptiness, and whatever your word is for the essence of beingness, and it may be ecstasy or bliss as this ecstasy, as this essence of this. But then as she brought it inside, she translated it into the body as this sense of it's the same being, it's the same being experienced through the senses, being experienced as this aliveness. See if you can follow it in her. I just love this, and as and just to add, my experiences when Goli shares these things, this is real for. This is what's lived in her. This isn't something that's read. This is what's lived and embodied in her experience. That this absolute emptiness, this essence, embodied, through the senses. It's just life itself that we're experiencing here in form. Tell us more, Goli.
I don't know. I love y'all. What can I say?
Hmm. Gosh. So this is how we're doing for all of us when we hear Goli speak of that. Like, what parts come up? And is there a spiritual achiever that comes up? It's like, oh, that's the right answer. My system needs to be more like Goli's. It's just a spiritual achiever. What we're interested in, like, we go back to Jenny's. It's like, no, it needs to be more like Jenny's or more like Jose's. Just notice any of those voices that has an idea of where this should go, what this should look like. And I brought up this theme today because this is what this system is really grappling with. And so it's almost like, wow, I get to have these 7 guides today in this, in how it's moving in each of you. So that's what we're interested in, not one particular way. But before we keep moving on, anything bubbling with what Goli said? Anything bubbling? And then just notice what it's like for your system to really, as you hear where Goli facilitated us. And then what voices come up? Are there parts that come up? Are there any buts that come up? If there any, well, no, she's a little off there. Like just notice any of that. Hmm. Woo! So are you ready for more? I mean, this is kind of exciting. We haven't even heard from Dagmar and Hanin in this. And I think with Dagmar, we're about to go to Dagmar. Everybody ready? And then just to notice as we look at Dagmar, what do we think? Where does this go in her? What is the flavor of this essence of this beingness? And how does it embody in her? What's her word for this? What's this going to be like? So I mean the curiosity. All right, everybody guess inside. Like, what do you like? What's her word? Is it like this essence, this absolute? Or is it more like love and beauty, like Raymond shared? Or more like vendor system? What's it like in Dagmar? All right, Dagmar, we're ready. What's the answer?
So firstly, I really liked it. It's just actually the wording of transcendence and imminence. And also you said something, not sure whether I remember it correctly, but the being that hasn't been touched by experience. That also really spoke to me, as um, yeah, when I sort of got into sort of that spiritual realm. And the word that came for me today was home.
It's what?
Home.
Home.
Yeah. It was like, it's complete. Yeah. And there's complete relaxation, complete acceptance. It's just, everything is all right. So, that's it. And I think it's interesting when I sort of went into the experience of the body, it was more difficult to relate to that, and it was there was also a little bit of resistance, and there was a little bit of, I thought, I find it more difficult to go as deep, so I could actually sort of also say sort of like that it was more superficial and that the transcendent experience is deeper. Mm. I feel at the moment that I'm quite patient with the different parts, and even if I would like to have a different experience sort of with my body, that, so perhaps some ecstasy, like this, or something, so that would be nice. But at the same time, I'm quite patient that it's just where I am on the journey at the moment. And so that's
Let me
actually lovely to be patient with it.
Yes, I want to just invite everybody into this last thing you're pointing to, because I'm guessing many of us are having this very same experience that you speak of, that as Dagmar describes, in the experience of the body, it's more difficult to find this depth in the imminence that we find in the transcendence. Notice if that's true in your system, that there's a little bit of, she types, there's a little bit of resistance, a little resistance there to go as deep into the imminence, into the body as we could go into the transcendence.
Can I just say something?
Please.
So perhaps with the body, what I feel is that, when I say it's more difficult, it's almost like it's more heady, more rational, but not fully embraced. So, I sort of, I experience it more as, a rational experience rather than a more holistic experience, so where my heart really is in it.
Let me ask you this
And I
question.
think that sometimes, I find that's quite interesting, so, so perhaps it's a little bit of a theme for me, to make that shift with certain areas in my life.
What would be your word for, as we speak about this sense of home, like your word, home, everything is all right. There's complete relaxation. And just for all of us, as we hear Dagmar's word for this is home. Everything is all right. Relaxation. What's the experience of home in the body? What's the experience of home? What's your word for it, Dagmar, as you describe this beingness in the body? What would be your word for it? Like, is it aliveness? Is it presence? Is it vibration? How does it play in you?
Wonder.
Wonder. And then as you feel this wonder, just as we had this word miraculous, I think Jenny shared this miraculous, and then she had a word of how that was felt. What is this one? As you feel this wonder, what's it like to be wonder? What's it like to be it?
I have a sense of amazement, and that the kind of amazement that resonates with the amazement about the universe.
Perfect. So
Almost, yeah.
this 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 wonder, this amazement. We can all touch that. Wonder and amazement. And then for all of us, what's our word? What's it like to be this? How do we know we're being it through the body? What's the somatic experience of wonder and amazement? How do we feel this? If we're not going to the mind, if we're going to the body instead, what's the experience of wonder and amazement? What do you find, Dagmar? What's that like in your system?
I can feel a vibrancy in my body.
Vibrancy.
Mm-hmm.
All feel like we have Dagmar here. You don't have to find this on your own, like a tuning fork. We can just tune in to this. See if you can find this vibrancy that Dagmar's speaking of. Wonder, amazement. What's it like to be? What's it like to be wonder and amazement embodied? And Dagmar feels a vibrancy. Jose has a different word for it. His is ecstasy, but vibrancy. What do you find in vibrancy? What's it like to be this wonder, to be this amazement, embodied as vibrancy? Anything else with all this, Dagmar? This is so delicious.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's a lovely journey because then the body feels more like home. So and I think perhaps something I wanted to also, that sort of been thinking about as people have been talking. So I think sometimes when we've got sort of these opposing parts, I feel that we can or I can experience them as opposing. But actually, if I allow the feeling or the experience to be there, if I get to a quality where, for example, pain and joy, where if I actually experience, give pain, and I probably don't speak of physical pain here, but if I allow pain to develop to a certain quality, it almost becomes the same as joy. And I think that's also where that helps me to actually allow the pain, because it's really deep joy and really deep pain. Somehow to me, they merge into one.
Let me check with everybody on this one. So Dagmar finds this vibrancy in her body. She starts to find the sense of home here in the body. It feels more like home. Body feels more like home. And then she notices even pain and joy. With pain, if we really feel into it, that we can find I'm paraphrase this, and we can find a vibrancy here, that we can find something that, wow, it's the essence isn't so different than even joy. We go to the essence of this. And this is, I wish we had more time because we haven't heard from Hanin yet, and we do not want to miss Hanin today. But I wish we could spend the whole time with Dagmar leading us in this. I'd love to just keep going into what she's describing. But my question for all of us is, how does that translate into your system? Is what she said, whoa, that's crazy talk. The idea that we can go to this, find this essence in pain, this vibration in pain, or what's your version of it in your system? Dagmar, I really want to jump over to Hanin, but any final words?
No,
Oh,
just thank you. Thank you, everybody.
oh, no, thank you. Thank you. We all have like this sense of awe and wow for where Dagmar just took us. All right. I'm gonna shake it off again. Here we are back in Jose's backyard. We're playing after school. We're hanging out. We're just here. Nothing have to do. Know where we're going. And then we have our friend Hanin who's jumping in the middle of the circle and she's telling us, let me tell you what's happening for me. And she's like, no, Sid, don't do this to me. I don't like to be in the center of
I
it.
hate it, Sid. It's awful. Don't do that. I love it. I've been enjoying everyone so much. I don't really have much to say. It just feels like this loving, open space where everything is just being shared here, and it's just bliss and full on ecstasy. Oh gosh, full on. I love it. Vibrancy, absolutely. What were the words? Miraculous. Loving them all, just beautiful.
And you used the word ecstasy. Then what about when we went to, as Dagmar was describing, with the transcendence was a little easier. It was more accessible to go into the deep than going into the deep in the embodiment. What did you find in the difference in the transcendence and the imminence, and what would be your word for each of those?
Can you ask that again, Sid?
Yes, when we went transcendent, we started off going just into the spacious openness, into the unity, into the stillness. What was your word for that? This big space, stillness.
Love.
Love.
Yes. Peace. uh, Safety. It's just fire kind of find almost everything in it, and it's at the same time just it's very sweet. It's very, very sweet.
Just for all of us, because our systems might be a little tired. We've been doing this for an hour and 20 minutes, but this is our grand finale today. Like in my experience with what Hanin just did, she couldn't even go there. There was no going away to spacious and emptiness, and I'm moving into the openness. There was just here. And it's like she's just describing here. See what you can follow as you feel into her system here. Like this is where we're all getting to get the gifts from each of us. And then Hanin, we played with the sense of imminence, the sense of what's it like to have this all in the body, to know it through the senses. What's it like to be in this body, to be Hanin at 11:20 in Vietnam right now?
Blissful. Many parts arising, and yet in such openness and such it's very flavorful. Tiredness and aliveness meet. Flavors of sensations. Physical realm of how the body takes form. Sounds. A mouse on my roof that's been there for weeks or months even. Having built a house or something there. It's been living with me. And just this focus shifting and widening again, and then just playing with everything and what
Just as Hanin's speaking, can you hear the music beneath the words? She could be talking about geopolitics or gardening. Can you hear the music beneath the words? Can you feel the vibration? Please continue, Hanin.
this is what I've been enjoying all night. And everyone, just the music of your voices, the faces moving. This is one of my favorite games. Seeing how I'm seeing even how parts come up. Am I allowed to do that? Is that not overstepping something? Isn't that rude? And then just keeping on exploring, like what's how that face moves, and knowing it as a face and as no face, and as a person that would almost block that vision of a person that's almost blocking the allowing to explore, and then going beyond that and enjoying that as well, and just a lot that's almost felt in the physical body as a stop, you can't overstep that, and then exploring that and including it. It's just so much
Wow.
even that joy is like ooh, it's like ecstasy. It really is just so joyful too. and anxious at the same time. It's just almost like trying to harness or stop that full on wanting to just scream and letting it out and enjoying this in full expression.
Gosh, beautiful. I'm curious what this is like for everyone as we kind of come to our last minutes together as we're hearing Hanin. We're hearing as she describes the vibration of it all, even the ecstasy in it all, even in the anxiety. Does that bring us back to where we started at the very beginning, where Jose was willing to share that there was some nervousness in his system? And Hanin is like celebrating it all as this vibration, as this bliss, even the anxiety itself. Any final words, Hanin?
Just as Goli said, I love you all. It's so beautiful. Thank you.
Gosh, thank you, Hanin. We've got like 3 minutes left. I'd love to hear if there's what's bubbling, anything bubbling for anyone. How are you? Especially if anybody's having any difficulties. We want a really smooth landing today. How are we doing? Bender, yeah.
What Dagmar said earlier about, you know, being with the discomfort or my body ache, and I experienced the in my body the comfort, like that pain is almost like gone. Like I don't know, the shift happened, the understanding the impermanence of the was going in my body. I felt the transcendence, the change. Thank you.
Gosh, thanks for sharing that, Bender. I hope everybody can hear that. It's like how we're each gifts to each other today. Dagmar might have been thinking she was just talking about her own system, but then the effect she had on Bender, how we really co-created this today through each of our sharings. Can you see that as you look at each of us here? The gifts of each of our sharings today, how this was co-created. Anything else bubbling? Anything else I'd like to share? We've got 2 minutes left.
Yeah, Goli said something about acceptance of her parts. Parts are arising, but there's acceptance. And that is a thread that runs through the whole, for me, this whole group. My parts get very quiet because the acceptance is just felt through it all. And I think they just want to be loved, right? They want to be accepted. And it just feels much easier in this space to accept them. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
The gift that we are to Jenny, the gift that we are to Jenny's system, something that she feels from us that makes it easier to accept her parts, to love them just the way they are. The gift of you to Jenny today. Anything else bubbling?
Sid, what about you?
Oh gosh, this was.
Tell us.
Thank you. This was. It could not be more exciting in my system to be exploring transcendence and imminence, to explore the beingness through both. And then kind of where we went to at the end of the meditation, this is what's most exciting in my system right now, like trying to, knowing the space that kind of fully includes both the fullness of the transcendence and the fullness of the imminence here now. And we've been tasting it in each of us here today. That's what's been fascinating, like being with each of your systems and tasting how this shows up in your system. And I love like Dagmar, who's grappling with this. It's like, oh, okay, but the transcendence is more accessible than the imminence. But then where she went when she described the home in her system, it's like each of us. And so this has been incredibly inspiring for me to watch how this plays, and Jose's, the ecstasy that he took us from. We got to close our eyes. It's like, oh my gosh, that was so great. Close your eyes and see the fractals and the ecstasy, and how it's put up in Hanin, and then what Vinder just shared about how it changed and how Jenny started us in Goli, where no, it's just the expression of that in this, in the form. Gosh, so I guess I loved it. I got so inspired today. I got so inspired. I hope you all can hear this, like the gift that you gave to me in this. So inspired, so much opened here. So I just want to go write about it. Um, and I am out of time because I've got a commitment to run to as well. And just thank you all so very much. And hope to see you soon. Jose, so great having you. Please come back all the time. And see you guys later. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.